Okay, welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video, doing another Galactica video. And this one is about my Apollo figure. This is from Majestic Studios. This is dated 2005. And it was actually just in a comic book shop. I thought, oh my goodness, they're making Galactica stuff? This is pretty incredible. The likeness to Richard Hatch is very impressive. I mean, look at that. That is... Okay, I don't know if the camera's focusing. There you go. Yeah, that is a very good recreation of Richard Hatch's likeness. It's a 1/6 scale, so, it's about 12 inches tall. The crushed velvet of the jacket is really, really good. You've got, like, the insignia for the Galactica there. He's got a shirt on underneath. The belt, the blaster, I'll get that out in a second. The boots, now on the underside, you can actually make out that it says there, Majestic Studios 2005. That's how you know it's legit. Really nice boots. I don't know if these would ever come off. I don't think so. I almost get the impression these are sewn in place, and I would not want to try to yank those off. In fact, I'm not really going to mess with this guy too much, and there's a reason why, but we'll talk about that in a second. I really, really loved this figure. When I saw it in the comic book shop, I just thought, yes. I don't know how much future there is for Galactica toys and stuff, especially in the classic range. 2005, like the Ron Moore reboot of Galactica was on TV at that point, so I just thought, well, I mean, I'm glad, but why are they making classic 1978 Galactica? Is this them spreading their wings to see, well, maybe we'll see if the fan base can support the old series? I certainly hope so. Unfortunately, I don't think it did, because other than this and a couple of other figures, this didn't really sell well enough, or at least it was a flash in the pan, really, really awesome for those of us who were into Galactica back in the day, but it didn't manage to last much longer than that. He stands pretty well on his own. Apparently Majestic Studios had to create this articulated body with all the different points of articulation on their own, but they did a really good job. Like, they didn't have any other toy company to fall upon to make the joints work and stuff, so they put this all out themselves, and they did a great job. He does come with one of those generic stands. You put that around his neck, and he will stand up. I'll show that in a second. But, it's got this branding on the underside here. Battlestar Galactica, limited edition collectible figure. Is there anything underneath? No. But, you would stand him here if you need to. Put the little prongs around his neck in a kind of a frightening, threatening pose. There we go, like that, so that, he can stand without you needing to worry too much about him flapping about and maybe potentially falling over. I'm kind of glad that he looks as good as he does for the time, because he's been standing on a shelf for years, decades in fact. And what worried me is he gets the sun on the side of his face along with his buddy. And I always thought, oh no, does that mean that over time the sun is going to be damaging the side of his face? Because summers come and go, and this guy gets sun on his face. But no, look at that. He's A-okay, completely fine. There's no differentiation of the color on either side. Thank goodness for that. Going to pull his blaster out in a second, but I want to point out he also came with this Viper helmet, which is really, really nice, quite solid. Like, it's got some heft to it. This is not a light, flimsy little thing. Let's set it on his head here. Yeah, there we go. You actually can fit it on him, and it looks A-okay. Sure, it may not light up, but that looks like it did in the show. You can make out this is Captain Apollo doing his thing. Really, really nice. I love the helmet. And of course, he's got that Warrior's blaster. Let's pull that out of his holster here. Gotta be careful, and I will tell you why later. So there's the blaster. Really, really nice. Awesome detail. Just like in the show, little lights and indicators everywhere. Great stuff. And like the helmet, like here's the helmet here. Like the helmet, really hefty. Like, this has got to be not just solid plastic, but I don't know if there's a weight inside there or something, but it feels very, very substantial. Fans of the show all know that Richard Hatch was a southpaw, left-handed, so his gun does fit in that hand. There we go. So just like that, you can take on one eye if you so desire. He's got the blaster in his hand, ready to delve out some protection of the innocent, because after all, he's a colonial warrior. Nice stuff. Now, there is another accessory that Apollo comes with, but this is where the story takes a bit of a sad turn. And that is that he's also got this little cool personal computer device, basically a thing that would sling onto here. And I guess as you're a pilot, you can actually access the computer while you're sitting down in your Viper. But in preparing to do this video, I actually tried to get this out, and as you can see, it broke. It's actually, it is vintage. I could probably glue it back together, because all it's got to do is go like that. Then there is a hook, and the hook can have it slide there, or you can put it on his belt. But as with many things, when you're talking a vintage toy like this, these things can get a little brittle over time. I discovered that with my Tauntaun reins, the jaw piece, that happened there as well. So in preparing to do this video, I discovered a few little hiccups with the age of this guy. The other one kind of being noticeable in the background here. I was going to try taking his jacket off so you can see what an awesome outfit he has underneath, but I don't know that I want to, because his belt is also getting a little frail. I had to use a piece of black tape to hold this together. The belt has got a little loop there and a little hook there, but half the time it doesn't really want to stay looped or hooked. There goes his helmet. And also the belt underneath is, it's okay. It's a little delicate, and it's holding up fine over the years, but I'm becoming aware that you gotta be super careful with a lot of these toys, a lot of these collectibles as time goes by, and this belt is giving me all kinds of grief here. Okay, let's put his blaster back in the belt, and we'll just hope that belt stays on under some kind of circumstances. Now, the unkindest cut of all in me doing this video review of this awesome figure is the fact that for years, decades, I held on to the original packaging that this guy came with. The box, the bifold open box that showed Apollo. And what was really unique about that was, as another YouTube channel that I will totally give a shout out to, Battlestar Collectica. Guy does amazing stuff, all to do with the original Battlestar show from '78. He talked about, when he was doing his review for this figure, he talked about how the packaging of Richard Hatch showing this Apollo figure was inside the fold open door of the figure. And what was interesting is that's unique. No other figure ever actually had that. You never had Mark Hamill holding up a Luke Skywalker figure on the packaging for the figure, or Harrison Ford, or anybody else. This is a unique thing where Richard Hatch actually showed off with a smile his Apollo figure. And Battlestar Collectica, the YouTube channel, also pointed out that with this packaging, originally the Majestic Studios folks made a mistake and actually described the Cylon on Apollo's box. So apparently they had a sticker over it that talked about that, which I thought was very, very interesting. So absolutely, and there will be many times I quote this as I talk Galactica on my channel, if you want to see the really detailed, intricate, rare items for the original 78 show, go and check out Battlestar Galactica. It's a great channel, great stuff. But anyway, there is my Majestic Studios Apollo figure from 2005. For a 20-year-old figure, he's in pretty good condition. This costume hasn't worn at all. No, the snaps do not go together, by the way, if anybody's asking. Yeah, no, he's in really good condition. Been, 20 years in my collection. Love this guy. And I'm very glad his face hasn't turned weirdly half brighter on one side than the other due to all that exposure to sunlight over the years. I'm going to try and fix up this thing, and I'll be very glad that both the blaster and the Viper helmet are doing really, really well. And I definitely recommend you check out Battlestar Collectica. That guy has an immense collection, an impressive knowledge of the original series. Love his stuff. I'm going to leave it there. So until next time, I'll see you down the rabbit hole.